Hello boys, my name is Coolyoshi and welcome back to my 100% blind playthrough of Skyward Sword. 100% walkthrough ever, Skyward Sword HD. In the last episode we got the third item, as you clearly can see. And that allows us to get a couple of other things. Sometimes it takes a while to grab Beetle's thing here. Now, the reason why we're coming to Beetle is specifically just for another adventure pouch spot, because getting those is pretty important, early on especially. We can also check a couple of our items, including wallet stuff and also an extra wallet. We'll go ahead and buy the final one while we're here, since we'll be getting more rupees pretty soon. So, quick buy gives us another item. This will be really important for needing more pouches for it rind. This is the final extra wallet. Increases it by another 300. This is the earliest way to increase your amount of rupees you can hold. Beyond that, you'll only be able to hold like 300 or so. Oh, there's a goddess chest there. But funnily enough, that goddess chest is actually completely blocked and still blocked in like another block thing. Like, the goddess chest we're looking for is actually located here. And we cannot get that until we get the Water Dragon scales. So that chest is actually completely inaccessible to us right now. So, rather than doing that, I'm gonna ignore all the other ones and instead head into the sky further to do some more things. Like most Zelda games, you can't really do a lot in terms of heart pieces until you complete all of the areas, so your first and big goal should be to just explore each area once, because that'll give you access to the items I mentioned before. Oh, there we go. What I like about this, if you do get a bit trolled... Oh, that was bad. Let's try this again. There we go. That was a bit better. That island we won't get access to until much, much later. Again, requires a couple of items to do so. Oh, we're here just for this chest, obviously. Which is another small seed satchel. I forgot there was one here. Maybe I shouldn't have bought one earlier with that idea in mind, but oh well. We can stack them, and it's not a bad idea, I guess, to have at least one of each. Maybe we can end up selling it later if we need to. I'm only gonna get one of each of the major items, by the way. I'm not gonna actually, at all of them, because, well, getting everything, or, like, multiples of everything, just kind of takes a really long time. So I think one of each bag is fine enough. I just have to get the permanent items, basically. That being said, I still do have to get the upgrades of all the other items as well. So, that being said, we will see all the upgrades. There's our trigger to go into this area. So into Lanryu Desert we go, another full area to explore. By the way, if you don't press ZR, it automatically pulls out the Sailcloth anyways. A report, Master Yoshi. We've arrived at Lanryu Mine. This area, our region, was transformed into desert over the course of several hundred years. Ooh. the third main area of the game, other than Skyloft, which is a pretty big area in its own right. Oh, this is the third main area of the surface, and also last area of the surface. Projections show that Zelda must have traveled through this area. And that's where we have to go, by the way. Gonna skip this with our Sailcloth. There's a bug we could have maybe gotten there. These guys are some of the harder bugs to get at. They'll just fly away when you least expect it. Coming back here for mostly for the goddess chest. So I just realized now I don't need bugs necessarily as much since they only work for potions. I may not necessarily have to get a lot of them. Those bugs are fairly easy to spot, thankfully. If you know they're there, you can kind of just sneak up on them. But we can't really get them until we have like a bigger net or something. Have to push this out of the way. Okay, there we go. Now our stamina's back. If we do get access to all bugs, I may consider getting new items like a stat ocean or something. I don't know. I don't know how I killed those enemies so fast, but those are supposed to be more tougher enemies. Those are known as electric choo-choos. If you attack them while they're flashing, they'll just immediately hurt you back. That's what makes this area so annoying, but not a lot we can do about it for now. See what I mean? Thankfully, it doesn't seem like they deal you as much damage in this version. I believe in the original they also did a full heart of damage, which is a bit annoying, to say the least. And here we see our first chime shift stone, which is how we actually get this into the pass, which is also how we get into other stuff. I'll need the shield later, obviously, against some later enemies. So we find out this area looks pretty Mayan-themed from what we see. Or in this game, Ancient Sika, as it's sometimes known as. And yes, I do recommend getting at least an extra Remake at one point, because that makes this area a bit easier. I'm just gonna actually go back, because this is not what I want. Yeah, so you have to keep going on this, as you can see, until we, hit back. Alright. And yes, if you try and speak to any of the robots, which we're not going to do right now, Fi tells you that they may have been deceased because of the area kind of fading into the past for some weird reason. If you make it go to the past, then you can actually talk to them. And we're gonna be using a lot of bombs, mainly because we need to blow them up to reveal our hidden spots. That'll allow us to continue on, and we'll go ahead and show off the first one, like, almost immediately. We're not blowing up any of the other ones, because they're not required and don't actually give anything anyways. Alright. Okay, now we throw the bomb around this area. Here's our first agent power. We do need at least one of them. Supposedly it goes in the dark. Probably should have read it a bit more. Oh well. Darn it, I dropped it on the wrong one. Okay, well, we revealed the first part of the way. Ah, classic. It's gonna be over here, is it? Always the last one you check. There it is. So this is only reason why we have to destroy them is for these time shift shells that we then have to hit, which switches from one area to the next. And you need to switch between the different areas in order for character to move further in. So we're gonna be doing that a lot. It also changes what enemies are in each area. I guess this one technically isn't required, it's completely optional, but some of the later ones are required. What I find kind of interesting is these explode immediately as soon as you get them. Right, compared to other stuff. And yes, when you find something, of course they have to reveal it. I'm just gonna pick up this chest first. These two twos, by the way, I particularly hate. I like to just ignore them because they're not really worth illing over what? It's probably gonna be like nothing but other stuff. Especially when I can farm other choo-choos in other areas more easily. Nice. And yes, I am only using Ice Shield when I need to. These guys can be killed in the same way as before, with more bombs. Again, we're gonna just ignore it though. The puzzle for this is quite interesting. Alright. By the way, this area is by far my funniest Link noise ever, which you just heard. I don't know who thought of putting that as a voice acting, but it's just really beautiful and also really scary for Link especially. I don't know why they put that in, but it's just super funny. I don't know why, I just love it so much. Yeah. And yes, that'll happen whenever Link falls into sand. Thankfully, it doesn't do him any damage, which is not bad compared to these choo-choos, which are much more brutal. But just the fact of him doing that is so ridiculous. You know what? Let's show that again, but I'm gonna show my version of it. See, now you can tell exactly how ridiculous that is. That's probably not the only time we're gonna hear it. I'm probably going to it a lot. I'm actually gonna try not to do that as much, but that being said, it's so funny that I have to show it at least once. In my opinion, my walkthrough is not complete until I show that at least once, because I just find that to be so hilarious that they made Link do that. Like, he literally sounds like he's dying or something, which he almost is, except, it's not actually the truth. So this one is actually an infinite sand area. If you try and go across it, you won't be able to get to there unless you hit it from the other side. Which is why we have to use bombs to roll over there. Oh. Am I gonna get out in time? Maybe not. Oh, okay, I actually did make it out in time. Sometimes, when I run out of energy, I like to just do, like, other stuff. Okay, this is what actually allows us to get through this area. If we, didn't do that, we'd probably get another... something like that. Yeah. Oh, this is one of those bugs. Whoa. He's fine, kind of weird. Okay, we got him. Good old Dragonfly. These stunning insects that combat eyes more beautiful than rupees and rains transfer as glass. Alright, only 2 more insects to go and we are done with all of them. All the insects you can get fairly easy, so it's not that bad. Don't think there's an activation here, but we'll still blow them up. Just to check. Run by this guy who attacks at me awfully quick, which is a bit worrisome. But this treasure will give us another golden skull, and I think we're just gonna head on from there. Jeez, those guys attack so fast, my goodness. So yes, the puzzle's quite obnoxious, actually. This is another obnoxious puzzle. And in case you're wondering what these guys do, they are like the weird Deku Babas, but they take 2 hits instead of 3 and can go either direction instead of being locked to a single direction. They are either up and down or right or left. Obviously, I'm going for the right or left direction because it's simpler to use overall. It's also less stressful than swinging it down, in my opinion. Okay, there we go. We made it through, which will bring us into the second half of Lanryu. We have arrived at Lanryu Desert. The terrain in this area changed dramatically as climate forces rapidly turned it into a desert. We have a lot of annoyances, by the way, to deal with here. They are not easy by any means. There are numerous areas of sink sand. Should you step in sink sand, you'll be swallowed by the desert. As a safety measure, I recommend checking your terrain on the map with minus. And this is where a secret comes into play. If you, actually go through your... As previously stated, this area is highly dangerous. I suggest reuniting with her quickly to determine the motivations behind her actions at Elven Province. That makes sense. Now, the actual desert is where we'll find most of our items. Until we get into here, we can't actually really do anything. And we'll find one, actually, right off the start. But the way we find it is actually kind of interesting. It kind of just appears on the overworld by just, like, looking around and waiting. It's, like, the oddest treasure in the game. You can't get it in any other way other than this. And there's no faster way of making it spawn. It just does that for some strange reason. Of course, to do it properly, we have to be as far away from those enemies as possible, otherwise they'll get us. So, you're probably wondering why I'm doing nothing. That's because... Oh. I need bug net, actually, for that. See what I mean? They're kind of chilly. So the idea is you basically just wait a little bit, and then at random intervals, your randomly Link will be able to enter Teleread. Oh wow. I think I actually do have to run into it, by the way. The idea is you basically just wait around. It's kind of random. And then these will just randomly appear. And then you can pick them up. Like, those tumbleweeds, you can actually pick them up. That's what I'm trying to do. But it's pretty obnoxious. Taking lots of damage just waiting on this freaking guy to get out of the way. And yes, basically as Link idles, these treasures will appear. I think they have to be caught just like others too, but I'm not sure what else to do. Oh yeah, sure enough, there it is. Yeah, totally, this giant massive plant could come in handy. Might as well take it with you. This is where I'll actually do my first two leave in a while, as we need 3 or so of these to upgrade our wind shield. That's what we're going to do, and then we're gonna leave for Skyloft, and then get our upgraded shield, and then we'll finally have our first max shield of the run. It'll be nice. And yeah, so you kind of just stall and they appear as you go through. If you move far away from these enemies, they won't actually chase you. That's your key to avoiding them. Or the best way of defeating them is to make them run into walls. Alright, there we go. You can get a lot of these really quickly if you know what you're doing. These enemies you can only kill once they have either bonked into a wall or you've made them attack each other or something. Fortunately, those aren't actually tumbleweed, and yes, that appears as you move. It's kind of one of the weirder treasures in the game. We're not sure who created it to be like that, but I knew I could get up there. I was just having trouble doing so. Another Troid. Troids sometimes roll across the desert in sand and running desert outface. Tarviers are used as material to upgrade a variety of items. You could collect them with a bug net. See, that's your hint that you have to use the bug net on them, in case you didn't already notice. This is the last area where I think we need other items, but we can't go there because of other strange things. This is the part where I started getting stuck, by the way, for a while. Yeah. So the idea with this map is there's invisible lines all throughout the desert, and if you go in just the right spot, you can actually walk on spots where you won't actually sink at all, and that's your key to actually getting through this. Anywhere else and you'll just sink into the sand. This one is so bad we have to use a pass just to get into here. we just use the slingshot to do this? I don't know. Yep, okay, that makes it a lot simpler. Now doing this reveals our actual enemies we have to kill. Help! I'm able to confirm a time shift has occurred within a space. An impact of the Boon Cells creates a sustained temporal disruption field in the surrounding area. We assumed that this area is in a past state. Oh wait, I need to go to my pouch. So these enemies can't actually be defeated normally, because if you try to attack them, they'll just electrocute you instead. So you have to first make them attack each other, and then after blocking an attack, you can actually deal with them better. Thank you. So this guy we do have to talk to, so we're making sure to do that. If you hadn't come along, they would have sucked all the electricity out of me. Look at that. You have a beetle. Appears to be an older model of a Lanryu vacation. As thanks for saving me. I will upgrade that for you. Give here for a second. This is what actually allows us to make it fast as well. Now the hook beetle is collected. This allows us to do a similar thing, except now we can carry items with it, which I'll show off right now. Use it, and you could just carry bombs and drop them into areas, so you could literally get the drop on enemies. This is how you're supposed to kill a lot of enemies. In fact, most of them do not even die to anything else. You have to do this in order to get that. There we go. This is how we're supposed to get past this area. Beyond that, we can't actually go anywhere until we do so. And we could even use it to kill enemies like this. That's how we're supposed to defeat those enemies, in case you didn't already notice. Two of these required, one is not, but more than likely also contains a treasure. Yes, until we get these, we can't actually do anything. It's good to know that I actually know how to dodge properly. I'm not gonna get that treasure, even though it's one of those amber rugs, just because, well, it's kind of trickier to add. Oh, we kind of just got that by moving out. Okay, nice. We caught a Sansida. The larvae of these bugs stay underground for 10 years or longer. No bug is harder to catch. So, as we just saw there, that is the hardest bug to catch in the entire game. Could not get that away, but that's fine. There's plenty of room for them later. And those big birds, they basically are similar to our birds, except they use bombs on us instead of regular stuff. Or in this case, I guess boulders, I should have known. Just run into it to kill it. For no reason whatsoever. By the way, I'm not gonna leave this area as early as I said I would. Instead, I'm going to, basically, do this to kill this guy, and then kind of just do other stuff. For these guys, you have to bomb and then walk on their shell, which you can then use as a platform to avoid the sinking sand. One of the more brutal puzzles in there. Definitely. It also leads to our third item. Now, if we take too long to on, or just naturally after a little while, I guess I should just say, then they will respawn, and their shell will also disappear on with it, so we'll have to take them out again. Most of this route, by the way, is rooted around the goddess cubes, which there are so many of in the entire game that it takes a really long time to actually get stuff. Yeah, some of these later ones you can dig up to 5 times. We could just use regular bombs, right? If we row it at them, we can have it stop right next to them, so we could just use that. Use this guy as a platform again. As funny as it is, would be to trigger the animation or reset my stamina. Doing that would be a bad idea right now. So my idea was to just play this up until the next save point, or bird statue, or whatever you call them. Apparently, one of the goals actually requires getting all of them, and I find that to be sort of scarcely and also pretty strongly important, which also makes me worried. So, for that reason and that reason only, I will be opening up this shortcut here so I can come back here later if I need to. And there's another bug, which is our last bug. If we wanted to get that, except it just ran away as we let it fall down. So we have to try, and that one's much easier than the Sand Kilada could catch. Sand Kilada is so bad you very much have to just get it immediately at the very beginning of when you find it. If you don't, it'll fly away almost immediately. The bugs themselves aren't actually useful for anything normally. However, if you bring them to that potion guy, which I already talked to, he will infuse your potions. And some of the weaker potions become much stronger when actually infused. Since this is a 100% run, I kind of joked. I think I will actually show all of their upgrades, which will definitely make the game a little bit more interesting, but also a bit more challenging, because what if I don't want to use them? Some of these, I believe, have a permanent fleck, others don't. In case you're wondering, yes, getting the hook beetle triggers effects to appear, and I'm mostly just going back to upgrade my other shield, but that being said, you could also say this is... Did not hit the chair this time immediately. Nothing I can get at Beetle right now, unfortunately. There's not a lot available until after you get stuff, so we're gonna come here for upgrades. Our shield will be upgraded first, just to make it easier. And yes, he uses only treasures. Oh, we need one more ancient power. Darn it, we almost have enough. I can go back and get that really quickly, though. This, of course, we do have enough, so we're gonna go ahead and upgrade it right away. This is mainly what we came back for.
Okay.
Alright. Well, this is gonna be a bit slower than I want to, but it is important nonetheless. Now, the beetle is probably the most important thing to upgrade as far as we know. No, and yes, this is where we'll start really putting it into it and actually farming a lot of the treasures. Because before I did this, I did not know how to farm treasures properly, and now I kind of do, and I can always go back to that minigame whenever I want. Either money or other items. That being said, if don't get at least 28, I won't get the rare treasure, so it's still gonna take a little while, but at least I could say I actually finished that minigame. In the original, I could not do it at all. I feel like when I go back into the original, I'll just try that stab strategy. That'll seems to work pretty well. Well, I definitely want to have the speed beetle before doing anything else, so we're gonna do some ancient power farming, I guess. It's kind of unusual to be doing right now, but it is what it is. Only past areas have this, and the only way we can really truly find those is by going to the beginning. And so we're back to the beginning of the area again, which means we have to go for this cave, which means more enemies. As for the healing, I think I will have a specific setup that I'm doing that'll allow me to finish it later. Whether or not an actual ancient flower spawns here is completely random. Sometimes it can spawn in this heart, sometimes it'll spawn elsewhere. I need to remember to keep at least one, though, due to the item setup, otherwise I won't be able to get stuff. And yes, ancient flowers are kind of just random spawns around here. Sometimes when you go into the past, they'll be here, sometimes they won't. I just realized something. If I just hit the time shift over and over again, maybe that'll randomly cause it to respawn stuff. Just giving this a test. Nope. Well, that's kind of bad. I'm actually gonna have to do my first pause in a very long time. I'll see you guys when I actually get one of these things. That was a bit more awkward than I wanted to. I actually kind of forgot that we needed ancient flowers for that, but then again, I wasn't also expecting to get the speed beetle this early. I probably would normally not have it until much later, but considering the fact that we need a lot of speed on our beetle, I feel like having a speed or fast beetle, like speed and maybe fast beetle as well, is probably really important to have early, because that'll make getting through certain areas much easier. Definitely recommended. So, the reason why I came back here is to upgrade our beetle, obviously. You barely have enough.
Okay.
Alright. Here we go. Now we can upgrade it. We can actually upgrade this again if we want, and we could if we have Ancient Flower, but all we really need is the speed right now. Stamina could also come in handy, but most of the time it won't really be necessarily. All it really would do was allow us to do our tricks. Okay, here's the trick I mentioned. Sit on this bench here. And as you sit, you'll actually recover hearts slowly over time. This is essentially your free heal. Whenever you do this, your hearts will fully restore. So if you forget a certain area, you can kind of just do that, and that'll allow us to actually get stuff going here. I like how even though you're not pressing a dive button, you can still just dive anyway if you're in the area. Alright, so now we can actually continue with the aim proper again. The upgrade was actually kind of important to get, by the way, because that will, as you see the name, as the name quotes, will definitely improve the speed. Oh, when it holds an item, apparently it won't go faster. That's a bit annoying. But it's still good to have. I did not accept this to go down so soon. This will still help out later. That was close. Darn it, there's enough in there. Oh. Here's another weird strategy you could do. If you jump attack them and do enough attacks, you can kill them before the sand takes you up. This allows you to then get up on the respawn of that. Can I actually make this? Whew, just barely. And yes, we got to hear the funny noise again. It's actually one of the more interesting strategies. Basically one I literally came up with on the fly. As I was doing that, I noticed that you could do that. So I actually came up with that strat myself. Not really a spirit strategy, but kind of cool. If you jump at them, you can kill them just before the sand would take you normally. And that allows you to have them then die in the background while you're getting sucked away by the sand. It's cool in a way because that means you don't have to go through the bomb thing, though. As far as I know, bombing them is usually quicker, especially if you have the fast speedle. Fast speedle will definitely come in handy for these next sections. Definitely something we need to remember to use a lot of. As for whether or not we're getting the third dungeon today, I don't know. Probably won't end up doing it just because of how long some of the other stuff take. But that's fine. If we get for this area enough, we could maybe get one of those special potions I mentioned before. Okay, let's go to the next area. Which leads into this cave. Which leads into another area called the Temple of Time and another save point. I will be talking to this one as well. Took a few tries to, alright, whatever. Is what it is, I guess. This one seems like you can't do anything. But if you do that, you can just get in there right away. Oh, jeez, we're right next to one of those bug things. Nice. I thought you would attack me again. Also, this is one that has 3 of them, not 2. I'm gonna try skip that guy, actually. Never mind, he's next to one of those things. And a Veribug. Well, I have a better strategy for him. Let's try and just knock him in the ground. Into the pit you go! See ya! See ya, buddy. Hope you will enjoy it in there, because I certainly wouldn't enjoy falling down a pit. That's for sure. Oh, these are the last things we have to get. These are the griddled dragonflies. There's also kind of tricky to get, though not as annoying usually, since they don't seem to necessarily go away right away. If you wait long enough, similar to the birds, they will respawn. You definitely don't want to lock on to some of these. My apologies if this is taking a while, but I really want to make sure I catch one of each bug. Not just like showing that as proof of 100%, but also just because, well, we need those to upgrade potions, kind of, and we need as many as we can get. Ah, again, we just barely didn't have enough speed there. Okay, I'm getting tired. I'm just gonna move on for now. I say that as a joke, and I'm literally gonna go back and try this again. Oh, there we go. That's actually something we already got. Never mind. What was I doing that for again? I don't know. I probably would have better off chasing them into the pit. Just for fun. Sees. Okay, well, back to the quick beetle some more. Can we even hit this? No. Oh, we have to go up top. Oh wait, I just realized we need to bomb that too. It'd be kind of dumb not to do that, and our thing was going weird. See what I mean? You have to use it a lot just to get stuff going. Hey, yeah, so Bio cannot be upgraded till we also get the Hook Beetle, because until then it's not actually the true beetle. Alright, there we go. It's a bit better. Ooh, this turns it into a giant tree. Okay. Kinda just hit that guy on the way there. Oop. We can hit that switch just like ours. Let's use the beetle to get to it. Just charge it right into it. Makes it a little bit faster than just doing the normal thing. Oh, there's an ancient flower. Nice. We definitely need a lot of these. Actually, if we're getting a full set of beetles upgrades. Once you get through, like, the first half, they aim and get more upgrades. Shields, it's not as bad to worry about getting a shield. Not the time shift stone. Yes, now we have the quick beetle is gonna be much quicker. Talk to this guy. Gorko is back. Good to see you. It seems like you pop up everywhere, though I'm the one up top. Hey, bud, there's something I died to tell you. It's discover your century. There's a sacred place known as the Temple of Time. I could not believe my eyes when I saw a human who lives on Legendary Isle of the Goddess. It wore clothes just like the ones written in the ancient manuscripts, and it looked just like you, bud. It came with another person, and then they entered the temple. I wanted to chase after him, but there was a Xil'jaal sign, an entrance. Well, you can see for yourself, bud. I do not think we're getting past this mess. I just wish we could find out what's happening on the other side. I believe in the original game, I could have sworn that would also trigger a cutscene. If I would say, oh, it looks like we can no longer go to that temple, so if we want to search for Zelda, we'll have to go a different way. I talked to him, and supposedly I fought at him. One of those weird fiends again. At least we actually physically killed them this time. Yeah, I know, I'm trying. You can hit them before, or they hit you too, though it's easier to do this. Alright. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Thanks for helping me. This is a temple of time. Within it is a sacred gate of time made by the goddess. Job to patrol outside the temple. If you want to reach the gate of time, you'll need to pass through that door. Huh? You need an Narayan? New mining facility and a temple of time are connected underground. Menu mining facility is right here. Map, it looks inaccurate. I'm gonna fix it for you. And now it looks more like the past all of a sudden. Now your mining facility is just ahead. Good luck. There, now Fi does it. A report, Master Yoshi. The map you possess corresponds to the actual terrain of this area with only 35% accuracy. The robot you let earlier modify your map to show past terrain that is submerged below the sand. Ooh. No, that's what allows us to get our thing. Another ancient flower. We're getting tons of those. So all of a sudden. Nope, we have to keep at least one as part of a main quest. It is required. Got that first try, thank goodness. That can be one of the more annoying guys cubes to get if you miss it, especially. But I did not miss it, thankfully. As far as I know, there's no save point over there. I'm gonna just run past these guys. What's this? What does this take us to? Back to a different part of the desert, which has nothing of knowledge as I know right now? Question mark. I should check to see where I am. I came in from the left, so I went in on the right. That's odd that I came in here, but it is what it is, I guess. Welp. Okay, then. Well, that looks pretty lonely. I'm gonna go over there. Oh, wait. Sorry, it's so... I need to just say again. That grass is actually where I think I have to go. Maybe I could just barely make it. Oh! Barely made it. Sure enough. Master Yoshi, I have information to report. I can confirm you will not be consumed by a sink sand in this current position. I suggest verify your location on the minimap. Readings indicate there's a submerged path beneath the sink sand. It's possible to walk around the root's path without submerging into the sink sand. Session suggests that placing beacons to mark a safe route on these paths before sea would significantly reduce this. I recommend placing multiple beacons. And that one thing, that one exclusive thing for some reason, mysteriously gives us access to just placing as many beacons as we want. Oh. This looks like a bombable spot, but also there's like nothing here. It looks so weird too at the same time. Nope. Okay, never mind. This is a trap after all. I don't like that. Oh, that's one of those. Oh, it's here. I was thinking of triggering this. Oh wait. Do I have enough flowers? Not sure if I do. Oh, I do, but I'd like one more. There's one that you can get here. There's also a jerk bullet next to it, though. Okay, so I am correct about this. This is always a... That was close. Almost didn't get that. Oof. And he got dropped to heart anyway. It's nice. Now, if we want to, we can connect the path, but we're not going to do that, because if we leave that there and then return, this exclusive spot will always have a flower, regardless of what you do. It makes it really useful. That's actually how you farm those. That's why I was considering maybe waiting until that, but I really wanted the speed beetle. Extra early, especially. I'm gonna drop it on this bird. I'm just gonna run into him again. Take him out. A good hint, by the way, is besides the map, any spot that's linked by either grass or something else will also be safe. So you can use that to just traverse through multiple spots without actually getting anything. I'm gonna drop this and run towards this spot. Because I'm also going to be saving here. I'm not going to be doing anything else. Except revealing this time show. We're not going to actually activate it right now. Instead, we're going to end the episode. Oh, boys. Well, like if you guys enjoyed, comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until later. Peace.